Hey, it's Kellen, and today, influencers, you are in for a treat. Take a pen, pad, get your phones out, all that good stuff, folks. I have Bonnie from Binge Networks, and she's going to tell us about an opportunity. I'm saying right now, this is the deal of 2020, 2021 and beyond, because she really is giving a deal better than anything I've seen thus far. Bonnie, welcome
Thank
to
you
the show.
so much. Thanks for having me. Hi, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. And we're doing this, folks, because the opportunity, Bonnie and Binge Networks, awesome network, and they also pitch you to other networks as well and market you. So Bonnie's going to tell us how that goes so I don't get it mixed up and say something that was wrong and say, Kellen, that was last year. We're doing something totally different this year. So Bonnie, if you could let the influencers know what Binge Network is all about.
Absolutely. We have a special guest. She just knocked on the door. So for any pet influencers out there, you'll be happy. So Binge Network, simply put, we are a streaming syndication service. And what that means, obviously, many of you are, doing very well on YouTube or other platforms. And we really help take influencers to the next level into smart TV. We help them get on all the top platforms from Pluto, Zumo, Peacock, over 160 different partners that we work with, and we build them smart TV apps so that they are in a position, where YouTube was 4 or 5 years ago, and that's probably what helped build the status of the influencer that you are today. Smart TV has now become that, and we have this great opportunity to help take influencers into smart TV, and that's simply what Binge does. Is we do everything from A to Z. We build your apps, we distribute your content, we get you paid. One-stop shop so that you can utilize smart TV to make more revenues, to get more sponsorships, and really to continue to build that influencer credibility in your brand.
Well, that sounds great. Over 100, other platforms, and some of those platforms are, impossible for your just average influencer right now to get into, unless it's like a Christmas present. If Apple calls you and says, we really want you, hey, that's a Christmas gift for you. But, with saying over 100, you guys pitch to, what are the numbers like as far as, because nothing is guaranteed and not everything is for everybody and every network. So on the average, and again, people, this isn't, a guarantee of this is going to be your story. You might even have more, but on an average, how, often does Apple and Hulu and all these places, that people really perks people's ears, do they say yes?
Yeah. So here's the great thing. If I could just take like a teeny step back and talk a little bit about how this became a network. I was actually an influencer myself. I had a TV show in New York City. It was on a cable channel, 3 different cable networks every Monday night. And, did the work and built the content and got it out there, and really quickly realized like, wow, you're very limited, whether you're on cable or YouTube or whatever it is, you're limited to that one platform. And I saw the power of smart TV, and we evolved over the last 6 years from becoming one show and then producing 8 shows and then offering this streaming platform. And with our services, we guarantee to get people on at least 100 of those platforms. So the Apples, the Sonys, the Samsung, the Sharp, all of the popular ones that we're familiar with. And then, we advocate on your behalf to get as many as possible as the Plutos, the Peacocks, the Zumos, the big names in the industry. And so that's really important because, for me, I had to spend hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars and 4 years of myself and my team's life building that infrastructure. But we can literally take any influencer and within 72 hours have them on at least 100 platforms. And that's very unique. It's impossible outside of Binge, to be perfectly honest. So that's really, what it is to answer your question, we can guarantee to get people on 100 platforms with the goal of getting them on even more. And then each one of those platforms has its own subscriber base. So, with YouTube, you have to build your subscribers, you have to continually build your following. A lot of people have to pay money to invest in building that out. With Binge, it's very different. We're putting you on Roku that has 40 million subscribers already. We're putting you on Apple with 30 million. We're putting you on Kanchong with 100 million. So it's a whole different level and echelon of growth and exposure, and they're different viewers. With social, sometimes the same person is watching you on YouTube, on Insta, on Facebook, and you're paying money to market to all of those. But this is a whole different viewer and the Samsung viewer is different than the Sony viewer. So it really is just scattering, into this orbit that you're not tapped into. And then with influencers specifically, you can also use that to grow your reach. If your goal is to grow your subs on YouTube, we'll use that, video that goes out to Sony, tell them to subscribe and like your channel. It works very fortuitously for all of it. It all works together.
And, I say this is the best deal because I'm hit up so often with, hey, we have this, we have that from very big companies. But a lot of times, I've never seen it. Most people say, hey, we're going to charge you $6,000 for Hulu, $6,000 for Apple. Yeah. So what made you be so generous during this, holiday season?
I have a new baby, so I don't sleep much, and I probably made a cuckoo decision offering it for this low. But the thing is, truthfully, because I came from the influencer space, I'm also the director and producer of the film Influencer on the social media generation in the advertising industry. So I understand that, number one, on one hand, I understand this tremendous opportunity, and number two, I understand that you're already crushing it. Like, you're an influencer already. And so we didn't want to make something crazy expensive that didn't make sense. Like, why would you want to pay $5,000 for each platform each month if you're already making, $30,000 on YouTube? And at the same time, we know the potential and the opportunity to, if you're making 30, you could be making 100. So we wanted to offer something that really hit home, but was incredibly affordable. Or, an influencer could go to their top sponsor and say, hey, I need X amount of dollars to sponsor this channel. And then again, you get the value of being in this whole new infrastructure, and we pay commissions each month as well. So do you want me to talk about the pricing, what we're offering?
Please do.
Okay. So right now, for everyone that you're working with, and this is kind of like, keep it hush hush because we can't offer this to everybody. This is just for your influencers. We're offering a package that's $7,500 for the entire year. And that includes your own app on Samsung, your own app on Amazon, your own app on Roku, and then guaranteed distribution on 100 networks on Binge, as well as representation for 1 year to get you on all the other premium platforms. And then after you've paid that fee, you're done, you're golden, you've got your apps running. We pay you commissions each month with the line item for where you monetized, how many views you got, how much you earned. And then after you've been with us a year, we just have a small $197 a month management fee that kicks in just to keep, to cover the credit card processing and the reporting and all of that. So $7,500, one time, you're done. You've got custom apps, guaranteed distribution. And really, again, it's a growth tool to help get new subscribers, new sponsors. We've had people come on board and then turn around within 24 hours and not only get that $7,500 sponsored, but to upcharge all their other sponsors for, this expanded reach.
No, that is awesome. And, I just want you guys to know, Bonnie knows she's being recorded. She knows she's on a show. So when she said, keep it hush hush, she was, joking. I don't want you guys to think that I had her on the hot mic, the Jesse Jackson hot mic. And she was, just saying, but no, that's the deal now. And who knows, it could, it can change for the up or the down. So jump on it while you can. And I really, love that deal. And the maintenance fee for anyone who has like a retail store, even for your credit card processing, that's not a bad price at all, especially if you're making money. We do have to say, what type of influencer, like have you seen, how many subscribers, how many views, what, no matter what platform you're on, is this for? Because I'd hate for someone who has like 10 subscribers to say, oh, I'm going to be on Apple, unless they could afford it, and think that life is going to change because I'm on Apple TV. So what's that range of influencer that you're seeing thus far?
I love that question. So the truthful answer is it really is for anybody. So let me talk about genre first, what's really working right now. Right now, anyone that's in any type of lifestyle, travel, because obviously we can't, so people want to watch that, fitness, food, any type of wellness, medical, like any, holistic, anything like that, those are the hot topics right now. Those are what the networks are, what we call buying or licensing. That said, we can really work with any influencer. We have over 160 live channels on our platform. We have a little bit of everything, but those are really the core. Music, also anything that's like entertainment based. So music, courses, classes. And then as far as subscribers, like, of course, if you're at a level where you're already making money on another platform, then we can definitely exponentially take that to the next level. And also some people that are lower subscribers, take a look at, okay, what's it going to take from an investment standpoint, from a time standpoint to really carve out a name on YouTube? And they may make the decision to just go to smart TV instead. Because it's so much more plentiful of a reach. It's so much more expansive, and it's just a different type of, I look at it again as like what YouTube was in the beginning days. Like we're starting, and a lot of these platforms like Samsung, they only release a certain amount of channels. So you're right, Kellen, that it's literally a limited amount of window that people can get into these. And when it's done, it's done. It's not like YouTube where it's unlimited channels and anyone could do it unvetted. We are working with a very opportunistic window here. So yeah, really any influencer, of course, if you already have sponsors, you already have, a good game going, then we can take it to the next level. And also if you just want to say, you know what, maybe I'll just dip my toe into smart TV instead. Great.
And with it being a limited window, how much content should an influencer have? Because this is something that can be run 24 hours. So can influencers bring all their old stuff, or how many hours of content do you recommend, and how do they give it to you? Does your company rip it in one swoop, or do they have to upload it to like a Synology, server of your own or their own? How does that work?
Amanda, you're so amazing. You're asking all the perfect questions, because otherwise I would have to spend an hour with each person explaining all this. So thank you. Super easy delivery. So as far as the hours of content, the rule of thumb, obviously the more content, the more money you can make. So we have people that have 10 videos and we have people that have 4,500 videos. It really depends. Of course, the 4,500ers are making 4,500 times the amount of revenue on ad revenue. That said, what's great about smart TV, it is video on demand. So there's not that pressure to have to release a video at 10 a.m. every Tuesday. Like it operates a little bit differently. It's more lean back media. It's not social where you're on your phone and you're watching, oh great, it's Tuesday at 10, I'm watching my favorite influencer. It's available 24/7 in the home on television. So the rule of thumb, what we're seeing right now is about $50 in ad revenue per hour of content per month. So if you give us 100 hours of content, then you would potentially, after we get you all up and running, look at about $5,000 per month in ad revenue. So that's, that's what we're seeing right now. But to your point, it can change at any moment. What's very unique about this time is because of COVID, and because we're dealing with television, we're not dealing with like, hey, you can still create content in your home. Of course you can, but we're dealing with typical television. So production stopped when COVID started, and streaming behavior went up 10x. So we have this really unique opportunity right now that we can take content that, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, they wouldn't even call us back, and we can get it placed and monetized very quickly because there's a vacuum and a big, huge need for content. So yeah, the more the better, but we can work with anyone at any level.
Okay, no, that's great. So you really can kind of control, and you're not limited, and really not censored. And when I say really not censored, let's jump into censorship, because I can already see the TikTok and OnlyFans folks saying, "Oh, we're not censored. We can go on TV." So let's talk about the perimeters, because I know I had asked you, would an Alex Jones be welcome, but let's just go full extreme. OnlyFans network, would they then be welcomed, and would they be censored?
Yeah, great question. So within the Binge platform, I mean, we are, anything that is racially driven, violence, illegal, can't do, but you can't do that anywhere. So a rule of thumb is the same parameters as YouTube. Like you have to have the copyrights to music. You have to just be respectful. Like, again, it's really looking at the same rights as what you'd be looking at there. Anything that is what we would call 18 and older. So the examples that you gave, we would just mark it as that. So it may impact a little bit some of the advertising opportunities, but we definitely have content, of that type that we're distributing. We just check a box that says contains 18 and older content. The other thing is with things like cannabis and other things that are sort of on the fringe right now, that there's the laws and rules are changing all the time. We've still been able to sort of get that pushed through. So again, they could change the rules in any moment, but with smart TV, because it's a quickly evolving newer media, the laws have been a little bit slower to catch up versus the social, which, dings you and pulls you down immediately.
Okay, so is it a safe bet to say if it's allowed on, YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, it will be allowed over here?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's just being cautious. The biggest like issue is always the music rights. And if you're an influencer, you've already got that down. You've gotten this far, so you understand how that works.
Okay. And if you can talk about the different models, when I'm talking people, I'm really for influencers considering the AVOD model. But if you can even tell the difference between that, because many influencers who are just on YouTube or TikTok, they're like, what do you mean AVOD? What do you mean SVOD? Right. What do you mean by that? So if you can break that down, and because for me, the AVOD, the free model, it's more of like the, what they're used to already versus the subscription. I know a lot of you have Patreon and all that, but usually that was because your manager told you to do that. So if you can explain how that works inside of Binge Network.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. So AVOD is the preferred method. And if you don't know what that means, you're already doing it. It's how YouTube works. It's how TikTok works. It's basically you upload your video, that network supplies ads. As the ads play, you make money. Simply put, that's what AVOD is. And the majority of the smart TV networks operate on AVOD. So Pluto, Zumo, I apologize, gotta let the little doggy out while I'm working. So you're already doing AVOD. The two things that are great about Binge are that we also offer the opportunity to do SVOD and what's called transactional or pay-per-view. So what SVOD is, just think Netflix. You pay your monthly fee each month, you get access to all this content. Now with Binge, as an influencer, you can create what's called an SVOD portion of your channel. So you can have free to watch, you can be making ads, and then maybe you start a premium subscription for all of your YouTube subscribers that pay, $7.99 a month. Now imagine if you did that and you start creating this special content, how much money you could make in addition to what we're talking about, because if you have a couple million subscribers and you get a few thousand of those subscribing for $7.99 a month and you're getting 50% of that adds up over time, month after month. So that's SVOD. And we really recommend that for people that have a strong following, that they do some sort of private content or special area. And then pay-per-view, or what's called transactional, TVOD sometimes, is just, if you think about it, if you buy a movie, you're maybe on Amazon, this movie's $4.99, you purchase it, you watch it. So you can do that on your channel too. So maybe if you're, say, a fitness influencer and your content's free, then you want to do this yoga workshop, you can charge for it. We do all the paywalls, all the transaction, credit card processing, you get a payment. And then we also do have the Patreon feature. It's ours, it's not through Patreon, but we also do have a donations feature where people can donate when they're watching your content. So those are all the different ways that you can make money. Again, the most popular is AVOD. If you look at Zumo, Pluto, all of the biggies, that's how they do their content. Whereas more of an Apple, Netflix, they do the SVOD subscription style.
All right. I can already feel certain people's questions. And yes, I'll push even harder on that, because a lot of times things get demonetized or people get kicked off of platforms because organization like a YouTube or Instagram will say, you know what, we used to allow you to do that, but we don't anymore, especially using, the model we're using. But if you were to use YouTube, just for example's own server, they pretty much would allow you to put everything up if it was like an unlisted video, and you wouldn't get dinged because you could give it to only the people who, agreed with you. So if I wanted to put Trump supporters on one side and Antifa on the other side and have a channel of battle royale, right, and not have to worry about advertisers, could I then say I could put on anything I wanted if I'm just getting the subscription based and not worried about the advertisers? Would Binge care what I put on there?
Absolutely, you can do that. And again, obviously we can't support anything that is derogatory, violent, illegal, but that notwithstanding, exactly your example is perfect. And we actually did have a channel very similar to that. It's gone now because of the elections over, but yes, you have a lot more control. It is basically like unlisted videos, only your subscribers are getting access to that. So, so that is a really great way to do things. And then again, you can mix and match. You can have your free videos, monetize it through ads, and then have your special little Antifa, fights over here. And it's great. It's really flexible. And to your point too about the censorship, like where I'm coming from, and I'm actually the founder. I just jumped on here. We didn't talk about me or anything, but I am the founder of the company, and I came from being an influencer, and I was so freaking frustrated with all of that. Like things would change, we came from TV, so it was even worse. You can't say this, you can't wear that, you can't do this. And then I went to YouTube, and then it's like, are you kidding me? Like you go build, and they're like, sorry, boom. I feel like it's like when you're a kid, you dig a hole in the sand and then the wave comes in. It was like that building monetization for content for so long. So I am very liberal when it comes to the rules and like pushing stuff through because I came from that world.
Okay. And my job is to try to cover everybody. And so here, we're here in Florida, both of us, and every day you can see somebody, half naked, and that's not really a big deal. I'm from California, Bay Area, where we actually used to see naked people going through Berkeley. And, you're like, oh, did you say are you from California too?
I'm from Marin County.
Okay. So I got to push even further and say, okay, if I'm doing subscription based and only my people can see it, let's just say, and I'm just throwing this out here, I got the OnlyFans network or the Swinger network. Am I going to be allowed to then be on Apple knowing that, they can't co-sign that, but would they even give me a platform, or would Hulu even let me on there if it's all subscription based and everything is, kind of on board? I just kind of got to push that angle from Antifa to OnlyFans to Swingers. I want to get all those questions out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the rules are driven by the network. So there's two things. There's the Binge Networks app that we've already got approval, and we're on all the 100 platforms. And then you get a channel in there, you get it pushed out. So think of your YouTube channel. You're uploading a video, it's going just one place, YouTube. With Binge, it goes 100 places. So all of a sudden it's scattered out to all 100 apps. Those rules are driven by each network. So Apple may have a no nudity, but because you're behind a paywall, it's seen a little bit differently. So you have a lot more flexibility and you can get away with that. We've had, I think in the history of our company, we represent over 25,000 videos in our catalog. We've had, I think, 2 issues where things came up. When we just had to tag as 18, it was like a sex therapist, and another one was too many promotions, like blatant promotions of products when we were monetizing the content. So there's that. Then in addition to that, we're building your own apps on the platforms, and those own apps are driven by the rules of the platform. So those ones are a little bit trickier sometimes. With Amazon, we can pretty much do anything right now. I don't know why. That's like a little bit unregulated. Don't share this video, but because we don't want that to change. But the other platforms, they will let you know, and then it's up to you to choose. Like, hey, do I want to tone it down? Do I want to put a little thing over the boobies, or do I want to keep going and lose that ad revenue? But it's your choice. It's not like we've never just. Have we? I always like to make sure I'm accurate, especially when I'm being recorded, but always actually, we've never shut off a channel. So there hasn't been, we always go back. Again, we're big on communication. We're big on coming back and saying, hey, Roku says, this is a little fringe. Do you want to not do the hold up of the product, or do you want us to pull those ads there? And then you get to tell us.
Okay. Sounds like somebody with, doing too much advertising was taking the, I remember growing up watching Spanish TV, Sábado Gigante, and there's no commercials, but through the thing, you see the woman, Zinnies, and they were doing that too much. So, okay. And you know what? I mean, this is one area for influencers to push their stuff. And if you really want to go to whatever extreme, you can always build your own and use this as the marketing to pull people back into your site and your own app where no one can tell you what to do. So I just want influencers to know, do not feel like, oh, well, they're going to say no to me right away. No, but you're going to be on Apple and Hulu when not everybody is there. So I think that's a beautiful thing. I know you talked about the advertising, the $50. Can you break down for influencers who, like, well, I don't really know advertising. I know CPM. What does that, break that down for me, please?
Sure. So Because we're working, I always explain our business as a bit of an octopus. We're working in so many directions with so many different arms. So you're getting paid from different platforms. The reason Binge is so powerful is you're getting paid from all these different platforms. So YouTube, they have a CPM, maybe it's $35, maybe it's $100, whatever the case may be, maybe it's $2. Every time 1,000 people watch your video, you get paid. With us, we're working at a very different level. We're working with 160 different platforms. Each one has their own metric, their own formula. So, the CPMs range from $12 to $100, depending on the platform. But the kind of rule of thumb, as I said, for the premium platforms is we're seeing about $50 per hour of content on the platform. That is comprised of like 30 different networks with all different CPMs. Don't want to confuse people. But that's part of what our service does is we tabulate. It's not like you can log in to a dashboard, see exactly where you are. At the end of each month, we're giving you reporting from all these different networks. So what's great about that is you're literally doing one thing, pop up your video, our team does the rest of the work for you, and then you get paid. And then, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm listening.
And then the other thing I would say again, because like if I was an influencer and I was watching this, again, my issue would be like, why would I pay? I'm already getting paid. It's a different mindset of looking at how much more you can make, how much more you can charge, and just the cachet of having an app. Like, not a lot of influencers have an app on Roku. We personally power 230 apps on Roku. I know the whole network. There's not really a lot of influencers on there yet. So it's kind of a different mindset of looking at like, yes, it's a small investment up front in the big scheme of things, but if it allows you to make, 6 figures more this year, kind of worth it.
Yeah, a very small investment for the, tech that you're putting in, as well as, and this is what makes you different as well, the marketing. When you told me that, I almost jumped in that pool because I was right over there and I was like, wait, did she say the marketing as well? Because even the places who would say, give me 6,000 for a Hulu, I almost want to say your name, but because you guys were so nice to me at NATPE, I'm not going to. You still would have to market your stuff. And it's like, well, if I'm going to pay all this money and now I'm marketing so many things and it's really who's going to pay me the most, but that you're going to do the marketing. Please talk about that process and how you guys do it. Is it all social? Is it, you guys have your own PR team that are pushing out and telling people? How does that work?
Sure. It works a lot of different ways. And I mean, that is a big part of what we bring to the table. And again, that was my frustration when I started in Smart TV, and I know the exact same company you're talking about. And I'm like, first of all, $5,000 a month. Second of all, I have nothing. I have a blank YouTube channel basically that I now have to grow and push subscribers and spend money and getting anything out of it. So obviously we wanted to do things different. So for us, we have a strategic marketing that we do for each channel. So we put you on the homepage of our network for 30 days. We do a clickable banner that will click through to your channel, and there's 5 of those at a time. So it's very great visibility, and that airs on Apple, Roku, iOS, and Binge. And we have a user-generated strategy where every single day you can tag us on Instagram on every post, and we will share that out to 80,000 people that have subscribed to Binge. We also advertise each new show as a new and noteworthy in our newsletter that goes out it goes out to about 6,500 subscribers and then 80,000 on social. And then we do work with a PR agency. We've won a lot of awards, and so we get a lot of press. This year, not to brag, I won top 30 CEOs in tech. We also won Best Streaming and Monetization Platform and Best Video Blog Platform, and I think one other award. So we constantly are promoting things like that. We're getting visibility that way. And we work with Transmedia as a publicist that puts out traditional press releases. And then we do marketing within the app. So we have a very strong strategy on Roku. I said we have 230 apps with Roku and Amazon Fire. We have a secret sauce that we do that guarantees installs, guarantees traffic, guarantees ads. So that's really powerful for people. On iOS, if you type in Binge Networks and download our app, please do, we come up next to Oprah. So each platform, we're working with a core strategy to get people to download the app and to get people to watch and view. So again, it really is part of what we do. It's a one touch. You literally give us your content, and to circle back on that, to answer your question, we can take an MRSS feed And we also can take the content in a Google Dropbox, which I know from YouTube, there's a way to just port that over to a Google or Dropbox. And then you're done. You're off to the races. We let you know when your apps are up and running so you can give a shout out and have people subscribe and rate. But it's pretty easy process.
Okay. And I could see some influencers saying, wait, I have thousands and thousands of videos. I just want to pour all of it in and let it, just kind of go on rotation. How does that work? Because let's say someone says, look, I got 1,000 videos. I'll do that. I'll send it over to you. When does it drop off? When is it considered old? Or how do you know what is good, like the schedule? Do I know it's going to be at noon and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so 95% of the platforms we work with are video on demand, meaning people can come and they can binge 24/7 whenever they want to. So it's very different than YouTube that you can keep the old content up there. It doesn't have to be taken down. It doesn't have to be rotated. It's stored basically on your channel. So as new people are discovering you, and keep in mind, again, these are different viewers. It's not like someone is a, influencer that follows all the food influencers and then they find one more channel. These are completely different audiences. So they might find you, they've never heard of you or seen you, and then they watch all 1,000 of your videos. So the rule of thumb, the more content, the better. And again, there is an auto feature. We'll talk about that, as we onboard people, but there is an auto feature. You can put everything in a Google Drive and then we can upload it from there. And then, the refresh there are algorithms on each platform. So the more you can upload new content, the better. But it's not that pressure of like every week, certain time. If you feel like kicking back or taking a road trip or doing whatever you do, that's fine.
Okay. And, for that person who is maybe saying, I have content, I've been doing this, for a decade or more, is there at any time that Binge at this current time will say, like Google, you need more space, upgrade to this and pay for more, space on the server? Or how would that work? Or how do you see that working if that's not an issue yet?
It is an issue. That's a really great question. So just to give you kind of a reference when we started. So we started as a company 6 years ago. We launched the streaming platform, BingeNetworks.tv 3 years ago. When we launched, it was just $97 a month. As we've grown and the demand has grown, the price has grown. So our current package is $10,000 and then $197 a month after a year. Our rule of thumb is we grandfather everybody in where they start. So I do see more prices increases coming in the very near future, like absolutely for 2021, but we grandfather everybody in where they start. So if you're with us in 5 years time, you're just paying the $197 a month. That might be $597 then for new clients, but that is a big consideration. And we have people that come back to us from, the early days and they're like, please, can I get back for $97? I'm like, sorry, this is the current offer. But we also have people that are still just paying the $97 a month. So it's really important because smart TV, we are completely undercharging, like ridiculously so, as you know. I mean, you guys can check the competitors and they don't even market or have the reach that we do. So it will change in the future, but for now, we will always grandfather everyone in, because I hate that. I hate when you go get your new phone and they're like, you owe $12 million. You're like, what? I got it a year ago. And I don't believe in that at all.
Well, and let's talk about you and your movie. I want people to know where they can see your movie so they can even, learn more about you and your journey.
Sure. So the movie is called Influencer. It's about the social media generation in the advertising industry. Funny thing, just what we're talking about. You can find it on Binge Networks. It has its own channel there. It's available on pay-per-view. It's also been playing for the last year on pretty much every major airline. Not that we all travel anymore, but the one time I get a film on an airline, there's COVID. I'm like, come on. But anyway, it's playing on every major airline around the world. And it's really cool. It's a documentary. It has 35 tech and media CEOs and social media influencers. And it really just explains what has happened over the last 30 years in technology to allow for influencers to exist. People just think like, how does this person just put on makeup and they're making millions? There was a lot that happened in technology to allow for where we are today, which I believe is wonderful. So it's really telling those stories. CEO of Share This, early on, architects of Google, and just sort of walking you through. And then meanwhile, you're following 3 influencers' journey, and they're talking about the day-to-day sort of like what's in your head, what goes on, how serious you take your brand. Like that's something I think people are like, influencers. No, I mean, these were the hardest working people I've ever met. We had one that was in high school, 2 that were, like millennial age. And it was so impressive. That was the biggest thing I walked away with from the movie. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of work. And, and you should continue that. You should continue your brand. You should have your merch deals. You should have all these things. And Binge can really help assist with that.
And when making that movie, and you talk about making millions, I think a lot of folks think, influencers wake up, and I know that, there's various movies and there's, people have seen, oh, so-and-so's the loneliest person on earth. Most influencers aren't making millions, but many are up there, and so the psychology of the influencer, have you seen that being an influencer that's making millions has helped people in their, personal lives, or have you seen it like destroy lives?
Both. I mean, to be perfectly honest. So you're exposing yourself, you're doing life and you're making a choice. Like I shared something personal. I'm a new mom, and because I was a TV star and an influencer, everything used to be filmed. Everything was filmed all the time. I made a conscious decision when I had my baby that I'm not going to do that, because you make a decision to not participate so much in the moment and to participate being an influencer. And so, if that makes sense. And so it's sort of the same thing that you're doing with your life. Like you're sacrificing in a way and you're getting a lot of gain. But these influencers, like, for example, while we were filming this one, love him. He's from Brazil. And during the period we were filming, like between the last cut and then before it aired, we got a notification from one of the other influencers that he had died. And I was like my soul sank. And I was like, what? Well, he didn't die. Somebody hacked his Instagram. He's a famous influencer, put up a thing saying, rest in peace, blah, 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 blah. Here's the details, closed all of his accounts. And then like for 3 days, we thought that he had passed away, and it was heartbreaking. And so those are some of the things that you think about. Now, I'm going to be honest, like when he first came to us, I'm like, oh my gosh, who is this, just bigger than life personality, like blah, 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 blah. Then when I heard his story, this was pre that happening, I was so impressed. And he had talked about being, a target. He's gay. So he had talked about those struggles and being a target his whole life. And then he talks different because he has an accent. And then he like introduced us to some work he's doing with Lady Gaga. And, so all of these deeper conversations were happening from what I would just judge as like a surf. I just thought like, oh, he's so pretty. He's getting to wear all these fancy clothes. Like how lucky. But then you get to know the person and you get to know what's behind it. And there are a lot of struggles. So I do say both, because it's not just like, look at me, I've got, millions of people looking at everything I do and liking it. There's a lot that goes into making that happen. And there's sacrifice too. So I've seen really good things happen, and then I've seen really bad things happen. And it's just about setting yourself apart and making sure. And I believe that's what smart TV can do, because you can kind of get a leg up and be like at a different echelon. Not saying it's better, it's just a different level, and not everybody has it. So it's, it's always about up leveling, right? Taking your subscribers to the next level, taking your money to the next level. And this is just a way to up level so you can kind of separate yourself and be that good, be that person that's doing good in the world versus the others.
And for that person who's listening, who says, well, I'm not an influencer, but I'm going on the site and I like what I see and I want to go see Bonnie's film Influencer and get it. They may, Binge is for everybody, really, when I'm looking at it.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. And, we have people that aren't influencers. We have people that just are amazing in what they do, whatever that is, whether it is teaching yoga, whether that is parenting, whether that is travel around the world. we have people that are extraordinary at every single thing that they would do, and they don't have to have a YouTube following or be the best on Insta or be even heard of TikTok. We can take them into that orbit and make that happen. And we can, and obviously if you have a following, we can do that quicker and more monetization and effectively. So, it really is for everybody.
Yeah. So whether you're a viewer or an influencer, you at least check out her film if you're listening or watching this. Now, influencers will say, but Kellen, do I still own the rights to my material after I submit it?
Yes, absolutely. Another thing, like I really built this company from, I looked at everything I hated and did the opposite. And literally we had discussions with our customer support team. I'm like, what annoys you? Like, what do you, and we literally outlined every single thing and did the opposite. So for us, you sign an agreement that says we are your distributor. You're giving us rights to distribute your content. We have a 30-day out clause because, we want the best for our influencers. If all of a sudden, if you're a sports, say you're a UFC fighter, influencer, and ESPN comes to you and gives you a big deal, well, you want to be like, sorry, I'm beholden to Binge. So we have a 30-day out clause. And then after, unfortunately, if you did ever leave, which we wouldn't want, but if you did ever leave, the content is back to you. Like the rights are yours anyway. You can do whatever you want during this time. And, after, when you're done, you're done.
Okay. Just after that 30 days, you guys, if you do want to, for whatever reason, the money is hers. So we just want to make sure that's clear.
We do, because there is a lot of upfront costs. I mean, we're in the red significantly for each client we onboard, but we're confident that we can monetize it over the years. So we take that risk, and it's worked out well for us. But yeah, it's like anything, you pay that money, it's an investment, and then for any reason. And we've had that happen 3 times, I believe. And one, a show got picked up by CNBC and they required exclusivity. We had another show that we sold very early on. They came to our platform and then we got an actual buyout by UrbanFlix. And I was like, listen, I mean, this sounds weird, but take the deal. It's a better deal for you. So, so we're honest in that way because again, I come from the creator space. So it's like, I don't believe in 3-year agreements. I don't believe in this, that, and the other of holding you over a barrel, because the great thing about Binge is we're in it together. We only make money when your content makes money. So, obviously we're going to do the best thing for that.
And I really stress that to, some of the people I've been talking to about this. And that's why we're doing this. So I can share it. The world can hear it. They can say, hey, binge what? Yeah, binge TV. It's actually a good thing now. Your mother used to tell you don't binge watch, but with, being able to control that narrative, I think it's important. It's important. And I love what you're doing. And you look great. Like you seem like you are just living the best life, not stressed out at all. Being a woman in tech and in TV, did you find this difficult at all? Because I mean, it still ran majority males.
100%. And thank you for that. I don't know how, maybe you need to take off those glasses. I feel like I'm always just like, because there is a lot that go, it is full on, and we're working with every single major player in the industry. And I would say it's 95% plus male dominated. And I came from TV. So the early years, people were like, oh, how cute, and I'm like, I'm actually wicked smart. So whatever, I used to have the platinum blonde hair and they would just see me on TV and be like, oh, so cute. You made a network. But my vision was always to build out. I always looked at Oprah. That's my mentor. And I was like, I want to build a network from a show. And I've done every single thing in it. And we're award winning. People take a look at what we've built and they're like, how in God's name? I'm like, I know. But, I work really, really hard, and I believe that you can do anything. And you just, like any influencer, you use your strength, right? So sometimes in meetings, I do have to play that, like, I don't know those big words, but then we close the deal with Sony. And so it's just, it's like, it's an interesting journey. And thank you for saying that. We've worked really, really hard, and I have an amazing team behind us that has achieved great things.
Oh, no, that's awesome, because, people always joke with Obama, and it's true. When he became president, he got like 20 years older. But someone like Oprah, every month we see old magazines, she's looking better and better and better. And And so it's, the stress. And these glasses are actually prescription, and they see more, they can see the future even. So trust me, it's not the glasses, it's the essence and everything that you are delivering, because I could only imagine what you had to do to get here and
Yeah.
to make those deals and to knock on the doors and that it's I'm cute type vibe. It's like, man, I'll punch you. I have a brain.
I mean, any minority is hard, right? Like any minority, we have to work harder, and it's all, everyone has their different thing, but it is, it's really fun now to see the industry, because it is the thing. Like, I don't even want to say it's the wave of the future. Smart TV is it, and it's here and it's now. And it's funny to go back into those meetings and remember me? and strike a deal with them. So yeah, it's great.
Okay. So,
go ahead.
Oh yeah. So Bonnie has a great, deck for those who are serious. I will let you guys know. Feel free. You don't have to, but you can come contact me. I can, connect you and we can do it like that. So in any of the confusion, if you're not necessarily a business person per se, or talk the TV language and say, what was that? A-Rod? Did they say A-Rod or A-Vod? Yeah, we said A-Vod. We're more than welcome to, guide you through there. And with Transmedia, Adrian, we're working with her. And so it's all a group effort, and there's plenty of money to share. I do want to ask you something, Bonnie, and it's personal, because and you've talked about it throughout this whole, conversation, but with all the success you're having and the success that you're going to have in the future, what is a community give back that you are doing or that you want to do in the future?
Absolutely. No, thank you so much for asking that. I mean, I'm all about that. I worked for Tony Robbins for 10 years. I worked for celebrity motivational speakers. So I'm always about giving back and contributing. For me, my two biggest passions are advocating for adoption. So my daughter is adopted, and that's a whole kooky industry. And so I use my platform personally to donate and to create advocacy and awareness for legislative change in that industry. And then, as you saw, my dog, who's my boss, coming in and out, she's adopted, and I am a huge advocate for that. So we donate a percentage of our sales to help with rescue and animals. But those are my two really big give backs. And then also I do volunteer a lot of my time. Like, I'm happy to coach people, to share with people, to help get them where they want to go. And I think that was done for me by some really powerful mentors, and it exponentially helped me. So that's something personally I can do that doesn't have to write a check or, but I've had people come back and go, oh my God, that thing changed my life. So those are my core competencies: advocacy for adoption law and pets.
I think you've given the game. I could go all day talking about TV, life, and everything with you, but I don't want to give I don't want to give the people a game overload, but that you guys have a good gist. You've heard the special that's going on now, but even if the price goes up, it's still a great deal for those of you who are at that level. And I really thank you for sharing this. So now I can share it and talk to people, and they say, okay, Kellen, sounds good. Let me get my, coins together. Binge Network. Go ahead.
On that too, we also do financing. So if somebody is, getting their ducats together, their coins together, we do have a program, I forgot to mention, that will finance the investment for 6 months with 0% interest. So it's through PayPal credit. They give you 6 months to pay. You work out the payments with them. That way it can give you that time to start making money, and then to go to some sponsor and say, hey, I need $7,500. Here's what you get. So we do, that's really important to mention too.
Wow. Okay. Again, if this is not the best deal on the market, that is awesome. That is awesome. And there's no influencer too big or too small. So, you guys can really get in on a good deal. Financing 0%. My goodness. In a pandemic. This is great. This is great stuff. Bonnie, I thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, you guys. I love it. It's so fun to connect this way and to, to get to see everybody. And I'm really excited. Any questions that you have, just ask. Like, no question is too big or too small. We're happy to support you through this process. We have an incredible team. So thank you so much for this opportunity. And I really look forward to helping some of your influencers get into smart TV.